thank you for your sharing. We've got all this wisdom here. I think we should lock the door now and not let them run out so that we can tap to all their expertise. I'm going to ask a couple of questions, but I've been told that I should look at this Slido a little bit more as well. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay. Now, perhaps to just start things off, because we've heard from Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, can you just share with us one thing that you think in your respective country you've done extremely well that has allowed you to perform so well, as well as one thing that perhaps if you were to go back in time, you would do differently, which you think would lead to even better results? So one thing that's really, really good, but one thing that perhaps in your own opinion, if we could improve on, it will lead to a big difference. Anybody?
Okay, maybe I go first. So in Hong Kong, the thing that we have a very remarkable result in the last Asian Games. And I think the good thing is we have a very good support team from our divisions, sports scientists, physiotherapists, nutritionists, and also biomechanics. We have and psychologists. We have a very good communication among our team, and I think that this helped athletes a lot to have a better result. And the one thing when I think back if I'm doing better, I can represent my other colleagues in my unit like sport nutrition. I think that maybe if we have more close contact with the athlete during the major games like Olympic Games or like Asian Games, that we can stay in the village or maybe can have access to the competition venue, because the accreditation sometimes is a issue, like maybe not just for Hong Kong, maybe also for other countries. So if we get more accreditations, or maybe in terms of if can't do it, if we have better preparations for the team, we understand more about the culture or maybe the environment or maybe the competition venue, anything nearby the competition venue, maybe it helps us to do a better preparation for the team.
Thank you.
Okay, in Japan, so in my own opinion, so I think recently badminton and table tennis is much improving. So I think this is because they own their own money and they hire our ex-colleague nutritionist and video coordinator, and they make their own team. And so they don't depend on the government funding. So of course we Japan Sports Council support for these sports, but they have their opinion and they make their own support team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for my part, I think this time we did very well because we prepared very well before the Asia Games. So we went to a lot of World Cups and World Championships and a lot of competitions before the games, and we have more familiar to under the pressure, so we perform very well. And I think the mentally his mental is prepare well besides his skills. So that's very well helps us before the games. And then the other part about what should if we can go back to before the games, we think it's besides our scientists, they're only 18s. We still have a lot. We need more athletic trainers or physical therapists. Then we can help more all the athletes if we can.
Thank you. So preparation's really important, and then the sports themselves, taking ownership of their own finances and programs is also extremely important. Yeah. Now, interestingly, on Slido, there are questions for each of the various countries. So, first one for Hong Kong, what sort of markers do you measure in blood and urine on a regular basis?
So in our sport biochemistry unit, we do a regular test. Some athlete comes once a week to do the blood test. So we have two different angles to look at athlete. So one is our health status. So we do a CBC, white blood cell, hemoglobin, this kind of test, and also the iron status, particularly for female athlete, because some female athletes are high risk of iron deficiency anemia. So we do a regular health-related parameters to monitor our athlete health status. And the other is a training response-related parameters, such as Taiwan just mentioned the creatine kinase (CK) to look at their muscle response, and we also look at the urea level to look at their metabolite, whether they're eating too much protein or not enough carbohydrates. And also now we are look at the hormone, testosterone and cortisol. We do regularly check to look at their stress level, where they are recovered good or bad. So we look at the testosterone and cortisol level. And for urine sample, we also do the urine specific gravity test to look at their hydration status, because this related to their hydration status. So we do either like early in the morning, the first morning peak, to look at their previous day hydration status, or maybe 2 hours before the training to look at their on-time hydration status. Because we do it 2 hours before, because at least athlete, they have enough time to rehydrate themselves before the training. So this is what we do on our lab.
Thank you. And then now for Japan, there's a question here. What are the sports that Japan is targeting for really good results in the closest will be Tokyo 2020 at the moment? And what measures do the experts use? I guess, how are the experts working with this sport, and what's the special ingredient?
Okay. In Japan, target A is, gymnastics, judo, women's wrestling, and karate. This is a newcomer in Tokyo Olympics. Yeah. So they all offer video specialists to the JSC. So I think actually in Asian Games, 15 to 17 video analysts came to the Jakarta. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. And actually, before I move on to Taiwan, I looked at the medal tally for Japan. Actually, 52 out of your 205 medals in the Asian Games came from swimming. Is that a big sport in Japan, Daichi, for swimming? Because yeah, that is so. I see. Okay, just to check. Now, and for Taiwan, in terms of the athletic trainers, because you mentioned about something that's I think is really important as well. Having a good relationship with the athletes and of course the coaches as well. So there's a question here: how do you maintain professionalism in your work when you're so close to the athlete? So while you're close, how do you maintain that professional relationship?
Normally, first I will do the watching, observing. Yeah, I will not give the opinions before I really understand what is training doing. So I watching the daily training, and I will film them and video with the biomechanics or some support scientist. And then when I find out some problem, I will discuss them before. And then I really discuss with coaches. And I will find out such as his injury is, or my fatigue is, or where might be injured, where is the risk is. I will discuss with coaches, and I will use the data. I will tell them, and then I hope. Sometimes maybe coaches they don't want to change this program, but I think most of them may do this. So I maybe during the strengthening program training, I will help I will tell the athlete directly. But maybe you can change a little bit, not changing whole program, but you will focus on this part, and they do it, and that really help. And then we can go back to the coaches, and instead of only totally change his program, maybe just to root for him. Yeah, that's I can do to cooperate with them with my professional.
Great, thank you. I see that I've only got 1 minute left, so I'm going to ask one last concluding question again to all you gentlemen. Tokyo 2020 is fast approaching. Would you be able to share, if there's one thing that in your respective countries you're focusing on at the moment, which you think is really going to be important in the preparation for Tokyo 2020?
Okay, so in Hong Kong, I think we learned from experience from Asian Games. I think the support house will be very important because of the limited delegations in the athlete village. So I look at the Taiwan experience, Japan and Singapore, you have a support house before, and the Asian Games is the first time Hong Kong have the support house to provide to our athletes, and we find that the result is pretty remarkable. It's reflect from our medals result. So I think that the most important preparation is to have establish a support house in 2020.
Okay, now we are gathering the data from coaches and athletes about how was the Asian Games, so in the heat condition, and what was the inside villages support, so especially our doctors and physiotherapists support. At the same time, so recently the national qualification is starting for Tokyo 2020. So I have to, as a researcher, I have to evaluate their performance. Longitudinal performance evaluation. Okay.
So for Taiwan, we do some strategies, and we will keep the strategy for the top list, the medalist who may win the medals. Also, we will help them to not only athlete trainers, they maybe have their own doctors or even some sports scientists. That's the first we focus on. We just help them, the medalist, and then the other part we will also take care of more potential and the top, help them to be the toppest. Yeah, we will focus these two parts. Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for your sharing, and again, congratulations on a really good Asian Games. All the best for Tokyo 2020, and hopefully we'll all do well there. Can you please join me to thank our panelists, please? So without further ado, I hope you found this segment fruitful. Thank you for being here, and enjoy your lunch. Chat with you later. Thank you.